and welcome again to the Valeo Experience YouTube channel. Season 2, where we are looking at resilience, bouncing back from life's challenges and hardships. I'm Dr. Giselle Miller, and it is my pleasure to be with you once again. Today we're going to be looking specifically at grief, the grieving process, understanding the different stages and providing some useful tips to help you deal with the grieving process in itself. Death is something we're never ever prepared for. It doesn't matter if our loved one was sick or if it's, something that just happened, just like that, unexpectedly. We are often tripped up. It hits us to our very core. And it is important for us to understand the difference between grief and full-on depression. Now, the stages of grief are denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and finally acceptance. We all grieve differently, so it is not a case where persons are going to go from one stage to the next. And there is also the case where there are some persons who will have a relapse from a different stage. So we all grieve differently, and some persons can go straight into depression. Some persons move from the different stages of anger and bargaining, but the ultimate goal is to get to acceptance. What does it mean to be at that accepting stage? That our loved one is gone. We get closure. We come to that place of understanding that though it's hard, I still need to live. I still need to push forward. I still need to make sure that the legacy that the person has left behind, that it is followed on. That, we embrace all of the things that we would have learned. We appreciate the good times. And we basically make sure we live our lives in such a way that our loved ones would have been proud. We accept it. It is something that we cannot change, and we just simply embrace the fact it is time to move forward. Now, I'm going to provide some tips as it relates to how can you deal with the grieving process. Know the difference. Grief usually lasts roughly about 1 year. The reason for that is you want to make sure that there is a full cycle, that the birthdays, anniversaries, those vacations like the holidays of Christmas, Easter, that generally you spend with family and loved ones, that you would pass through all of these different times of that year and you navigate through it, meaning that you feel the pain, you miss the person, you go through all of the downtime, but you pick yourself up. So after 1 full year, the person should be at a place where their resilience comes out and you're able basically to go on living without your loved one in your life physically. Now you focus a lot on the memories that you would have made with that person. Depression, however, goes beyond 1 year. So even after the year has passed, you realize I can't shake this gloom. I can't shake this feeling as if my life in itself is also over. And for a lot of persons, it could be that stressful experience would have placed you in a position now where you are unable to do it for yourself and you need outside intervention. If that is the case, definitely seek help. Speak to someone, a psychologist, a psychiatrist, a counselor, someone who can help you to basically work through that deep grieving process that you're going into. But it is something that you should never ever push under the rug. There are some persons who are afraid to face their grief, so you basically go through life brushing it off as if it never existed. And what tends to happen, we have what is called a compounded grief, where this particular grieving scenario is met with another one. So take, for instance, you lose a loved one through death, for instance, and you lose something else by divorce or separation or migration, you lose your job, and all of these things are, would be a loss that you have endured. Put them together and it becomes compounded grief. And that's why sometimes persons enter into that phase of depression and you find it so difficult to come out. So here now are some tips to help you deal with your pain. Acknowledge the pain that you're feeling. So let me tell you, when my mom, both parents are gone for me, I am pretty much, as they would say, I'm an orphan at this stage. That both my parents died and they have moved on to the great beyond. When my mom died, because she passed first, the pain was excruciating like none other. And I will tell you, I felt literally as if, you know, when someone literally knocked the wind out of you, like somebody gives you that thump right here. That's how I felt. And it took me a while, it took me a minute to actually appreciate the pain that I was feeling, because you are surrounded by persons who constantly tell you, be strong. And those two words became something that I literally hated, because I felt persons did not understand fully what they're saying to me. What does it mean to be strong? I shy away from telling anyone going through your pain to be strong. Reasons being, it is important for the person to identify and fully accept and appreciate what they are going through. You have to take your time through it. Do not allow anyone to force you to get better and be better before you're ready to do that. Take your time. So you acknowledge the pain and the loss. You acknowledge that this person that you love and you really were connected to is no longer there. But eventually you have to get to the place where the pain is there, but you still have to work through the pain, meaning that you keep pushing ahead. You do not allow life to come to a standstill. Okay? Accept, number 2, accept that grief can trigger many different and unexpected emotions. So this goes back to the stages of grief. Because I was in such anguish and pain emotionally, I was emotionally down and out. Everything became an irritation. So literally I was upset for a lot of it. I was frustrated. I couldn't process information. So even when persons were trying to do something nice for me to have a light moment, I did not appreciate it. Okay? This is because the grief triggered a lot of unexpected emotions and I acted or projected out of place. Okay, so you have to be aware that if you are not handling your grief very well, that you will be projecting different types of emotions in situations that it is totally unwarranted. Number 3, understand that your grieving process will be unique to you. We all grieve differently. You know, there are some persons who grieve and they go about their lives, they get busy. Mostly guys, you see that men tend to rationalize and intellectualize. So you get busy, you want to make sure that you're doing things productively. Women, we might speak more and cry more, but there are some persons who grieve, they hold on to things and they begin to hoard so that they don't want to get rid of any personal items of the person who is deceased and gone. So you have to figure out how exactly you are grieving in this moment. Number 4, seek out face-to-face support from people who care about you. All right? Do not shut yourself away. When we are grieving, when we are down and we're feeling sad, you know, the thing that we lean towards most is isolation, pulling away, that we don't want persons around us. But you have to be very careful against that. You don't want to be in a space where you are basically soothing your grief and you know you are actually fueling it so that it goes on longer and longer and longer. Even if you're not communicating with the people around you, still be around persons. It is better than isolating yourself and being locked away, especially in a dark room and listening to sad music and all of these things. Yes, that is the inclination you're going to have, but go against it. So have your support system around you, have face-to-face contact, and you know, allow yourself to be integrated in whatever is going on around you. Number 5, support yourself emotionally by taking care of yourself physically. Your physical health is very important, and during grief we see that a lot of persons, you shy away from eating, you're not eating on time or you're not eating at all, the sleeping, the exercise, all of these things that you'd have been doing before to help with your physical wellness, it tends to go out of the window. You have to make sure that you invest in your physical health. Take your medications for those who are on medications. Eat well, eat healthy. So you want to make sure that you're still having your vegetables, drinking lots of water, your fruits, all of these things. And it is very important because some persons may feel that, you know what, I'm just going to give up on life. I don't want to eat. I don't want to do anything. I don't want to practice my hygiene and all of these things because you feel like giving up and just simply going through the motion. Push against that, okay? Push against that. Do what you need to do so that you can be healthy, because remember, your loved one will still want you to live on and to live well. Remember that. And the last one for today, again, as I said before, recognize the difference between grief and depression. Know when it is going beyond that grief, that initial grief that you have been feeling. Know when, figure out and be able to identify when it is actually going down to the place where I no longer want to live. I no longer want to get out of bed. I feel as if my life is over. When these thoughts start, coming into your mind, especially when you start having thoughts of suicide and hurting yourself, definitely you need to get help. Definitely speak to someone. Do not wait. Do not waste time. Get in touch with someone and let them know what is happening, because it could be that you're plummeting deep into depression. And that is something that you would need intervention from a trained therapist to help you through that. Okay, so I hope these little nuggets help. And if you're going through the grieving process, even at this time of looking at this video, trust that it is going to get better. I can't tell you when, but I know over time it is going to get easier, it is going to get better. Just focus on the good times. That's what I did. Focus on the good times, focus on the memories, focus on the lessons learned, so that you'll live a better life, that you would embrace life fully, understanding that death is something that is going to come. We may never be prepared for it, but even as we live each day as if it were your last. Put your best foot forward, smile, embrace life, because at the end of the day, every single day is a gift. Bye-bye.